Charlie Kirk was an amazing man. Strong, confident, wise, and above all else, God-fearing. He only wanted to talk. Though he is not literally so, he did follow in Christ's footsteps. And just like Jesus, he was murdered for wanting to talk. Not only that, they continue to lie about him and his assassin. Here's MSNBC the day of Charlie's murder, claiming that Charlie was shot by one of his own supporters.
Yeah, and again, I emphasize what you just emphasized. We don't know any of the full details of this. That we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea about it.
Then, only a few days later, here's Jimmy Kimmel towing the corporate communist lie that Charlie's murderer was actually MAGA.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?
Yeah, you'd have to be so stupid you could fail a blood test to think that one of Charlie's own supporters would murder him. And it's crazy how all this propaganda was disproven in record time. But there are so many different attacks against his character that they just keep throwing out whatever they can, hoping that it sticks to the wall. So let's debunk a lot of these lies in honor and memory of Charlie Kirk. Before I do, please, if you enjoy what you hear in this video, then like and subscribe for more. First things first, the number of people calling Charlie racist is staggering. And there's a pretty vile example of this with Reverend Howard John Wesley of the Alfred Street Baptist Church in Alexandria, Virginia.
Charlie Kirk did not deserve to be assassinated.
Alright, let's see how he screws it up.
But I'm overwhelmed seeing the flags of the United States of America at half-staff, calling this nation to honor and venerate a man who was an unapologetic racist and spent all of his life sowing seeds of division and hate into this land.
And there it is.
And hearing people with selective rage who were mad about Charlie Kirk but didn't give a damn about Melissa Hortman and her husband when they were shot down in their home, tell me I ought to have compassion for the death of a man who had no respect for my own life.
You know, it's funny that he brings up Melissa Horton's murder because I remember that happening, but it was a pretty small blip. Let's look into it. And honestly, after going through the information myself, I still can't really conclude what the fuck happened. You see, earlier this year, Melissa Hortman, her husband, and their dog were shot dead by Vance Luther Bolter, who earlier in the day shot Senator John Hoffman, another member of the Democratic Party. So in no way, shape, or form do I believe we can deny that this was politically motivated. However, there is no consistent motive for Bolter's actions. You see, earlier in the week that she was murdered, she was the sole Democrat who voted to repeal taxpayer-funded health care coverage for adult illegal criminals. Then on June 14th, Bolter impersonated being a police officer, complete with a falsified SUV, and murdered her, her husband, and their dog. After he was arrested, an alleged hit list was found in his getaway vehicle. Bolter also made the claim that Tampon Tim Waltz himself ordered the hit. There's even an alleged hit list of 60 Democrat officials and organizations that were found in the vehicle that he used. But the confusion doesn't stop there. Bolter's motive for what happened that day has changed pretty much every time he's said anything about it. The substantial claim that Waltz ordered the hit requires equally substantial evidence, of which he has not provided. On top of this, during an interview with Alpha News, Bolter made the claim that it was all about trying to invoke citizens' arrests because he was investigating sudden deaths from COVID-19 shots. He even went on to say that his opposition to abortion or his support for Trump were not motivators. Bolter claims that everything just went horribly wrong and was a part of a 2-year undercover investigation of vaccine deaths. And the problem with that claim is that he hasn't produced any evidence to it at all, so it's a mad mess of confusion without any definitive facts. On the one hand, Portman's assassination is from a position of someone who claims to be a devout Christian, but very clearly isn't, and supposedly did all of this because he was investigating the cover-ups and mystery around the COVID vaccine. But that doesn't align with the fact that he's been working with and for Democrats since Tim Walz's predecessor. Walz himself reappointed this guy personally in 2019. So the definitive statement of he's left-wing or right-wing doesn't really hold up because there's too much that doesn't make any sense. So that's why the story disappeared. It's confusing and there's no definitive answer. And while I often err on the simple solution being the main reason, the actions of Democrats hiding this story and not flaunting it everywhere tells me that there's something suspicious about it. Unfortunately, we will have to wait and see.
I am sorry, but there's nowhere in Bible
Sorry, proper grammar, the Bible.
where we are taught to honor evil. And how you die does not redeem how you lived. You do not become a hero in your death when you are a weapon of the enemy in your life.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Well made. Okay. Do George Floyd. You know, that guy with multiple convictions, including drug possession, drug selling, theft, and aggravated robbery with a deadly weapon. You know, because he held a gun to a woman's stomach. So you're gonna apply your standard to him, right? You're gonna denounce George Floyd?
I can abhor the violence that took your life, but I don't have to celebrate how you chose to live.
You're not going to celebrate how he lived. You mean like saying that a black child was a beautiful gift from God?
How are you? What a beautiful kid that is.
Thank you.
What a gift
so
from God.
much.
Yeah.
She truly is. She is the biggest blessing. Something that kind of has me like on the fence of whether or not I go kind of like full blown more like conservative or moderate is just seeing how
Give it up. That is a gift from the Lord, everybody. That is just beautiful.
Or like how he inspired, tutored, and worked with multiple black individuals like Amir Autumn, Candace Owens, Brandon Tatum, Rob Smith, and many more. Actually, Amir and Rob both bring up another problem. All the lies about Charlie being a homophobe. Really? Here's Charlie's response to a man who said that he's a gay conservative.
A gay conservative, and I just want to ask you, what do you have to say for people like me who kind of feel like, I guess, it's kind of hard for gay conservatives because there's not a lot of us. So, like, what do you have to say to other gay people who need to realize, like, they do have a choice?
Yeah, first of all, welcome to the conservative movement. I don't think you should introduce yourself just based on your sexual attractions.
No, I agree. I like
because that's not who you are.
I like to be thought of as a person, and
for sure, you are a complete human being, and I'm sure you treat people well, and you're studying something. So I want to get away with this idea that you're gay anything. I just think that we have gone a long way in the negative direction in this country, where we act as if the most important part of your identity is what you do in the bedroom. It doesn't mean that much to me, but if you ask from a perspective as a Christian, I don't agree with that lifestyle, but politics is about addition and multiplication. I imagine you agree with a lot of what we talk about.
Absolutely.
Right? Strong borders, strong country, and for that, we welcome you into the conservative movement.
Thank you.
Charlie even pushed hard against people who wanted to excise gays from the conservative movement.
Up until about 5 years ago, when gay marriage was legalized nationwide, the conservative movement has been explicitly pro-traditional family. Now, both you and your organization advocate for the acceptance of anti-Christian, immoral lifestyles like homosexuality and transsexuality, going as far to invite drag queens like Lady MAGA to your events. It seems to me and anyone who's paying attention that conservatives just believe whatever liberals believed 5 years ago. Right now, there's a push by the left to normalize pedophilia by way of child drag queen shows and... Oh, excuse me. Phone shut off.
Go back to your notes. That's probably where you saved it. You know, you got to like push double tap and then go over.
Right now, there is a push by the left to normalize pedophilia by way of child drag queen shows and rebranding pedophiles as minor attracted persons. 5 years from now, will you be promoting child drag queen shows? Will child abuse become part of the conservative platform?
Boy, that's a slippery slope fallacy if I've ever seen one. First of all, I've never invited a drag queen to come to any Turning Point USA event. I was at Politicon, and an individual by the name of Lady Maga came up, and I took a picture, and she walked away. Secondly, let me ask you a question. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, sir.
So are you a proud Trump supporter?
Of course.
So are you sickened that he had a gay man speak at his convention?
Yes.
Then you're not a Trump supporter, my friend. Thank you very much. Let me ask you another question. Should he return the money of Peter Thiel, an openly gay man who supports his campaign?
No, if it helps him strategically,
okay.
sure he can.
Should he stop talking to Tammy Bruce, who's an open lesbian that's a Fox News contributor?
If it's affecting his ideas, then probably, yeah.
Okay, so you say you're a Trump supporter, yet you have all these issues and these disagreements with him. Let me be very clear about my position. My personal position. I'm a Christian first and foremost, then an American, then a constitutionalist, then a conservative, in that order. I believe marriage, biblically, if we want to have a biblical and theological discussion as articulated in the greatest book ever to exist in the history of the world, the Holy Bible. Marriage in the Holy Bible is one man, one woman. I also do not believe in the sort of rhetoric that some people engage in, that all of a sudden that they say there's no place for gay people in the conservative movement. I do not believe that. And let me ask you a question. Can I ask you a question then?
Sure, go for it.
So, the American family, liberty, freedom, the Constitution, our history, veterans. That's what we're conserving. I'll get to you later, though. Don't worry. So let me ask you a question. What if you had your way? What would you do with gay people in America?
What would I do with them? I wouldn't.
Yeah, because they're not allowed in the conservative movement. So would you just kick them out anytime they show up at a Republican Party? If you were in charge, like what would you say? You can't be part of the Republican Party.
If somebody is advocating for being openly homosexual, yeah, they should not be part of the conservative movement.
So I just want to go through the list. Guy Benson, no place in the conservative movement. Dave Rubin, no place in the conservative movement. Peter Thiel, no place in the conservative movement. So that just to go down the list.
If they are supporting open homosexuality.
So I'm going to ask a very respectful question, as respectfully as I can. What does what they do in their private life concern you so much that you have to go up in front of a crowd? And
it is against God. That is
so let me ask you a question.
Are you a Christian or not?
Do we live in a theocracy, yes or no? No, do we live in a theocracy?
You said you're a Christian.
I am a Christian. And do you know what? And guess what? I will say this. Part of being a Christian is appropriately interpreting what the theological says for the individual, but also means to be long-suffering and patient and loving and kind. Jesus Christ talked to all people. Jesus Christ went and did his ministry through Judea and Samaria, and he had dinner with tax collectors, and he had dinner with prostitutes, and he did his ministry in every part of the Mediterranean. What it means to be a Christian, my friend, is to be open-minded but firm in your beliefs, so you can have that belief. But if you say there's something inherently wrong with communicating or associating just because they make different personal decisions than you, sir, are not a conservative. Thanks for being here tonight.
This is the correct position. You do not hate the sinner, you hate the sin. And part of why he spoke so highly of and with individuals who were so lost is because he believed he could get to the bottom of problems by offering actual solutions. Case in point, here he is talking with a woman who is confused about which of the two sexes she's supposed to be.
I just want to say I'm a transgender male. What age should kids be able to get things like hormone therapy? Because I don't know what's true, what's not.
Tell me, are you comfortable telling me your story?
I've known that since like 3rd grade, and I'm currently 19, almost 20. I've known basically since then. I didn't start going by like a different name until 7th and 8th grade. I just don't know, like, with the whole medical stuff, like what's true, what's not, what's helpful, because I've heard so many different opinions.
First of all, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to have an opinion that very few people will ever tell you, which is I want you to be very cautious putting drugs into your system
Yeah.
in the pursuit of changing your body. I instead encourage you to work on what's going on in your brain first. I think what you need first and foremost is just a diagnosis. Just someone that is going to listen to what you've gone through, listen to what else is going on. My prayer for you, and again, very few people will say this, I actually want to see you be comfortable in how you were born.
Yeah.
I know that you might not feel that way, but I think that is something that you can achieve. I think that with the right team and the right people, you don't have to wage war on your body, you can learn to love your body.
Charlie disagreed with the lifestyle, but never had hate for anyone like this in his heart. His suggestion to try to help this individual makes it clear. Now, there's one more thing that really pisses me off. The twisting of his words in his advocacy for the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment, which makes it very clear that we are to own and possess firearms not just to defend ourselves from something like an animal in the wild or some burglar who breaks into your home, but because we have to be careful of government overstepping its bounds. Anyone with a literacy rate higher than the LeBron James School of Learning good understands this. Unless you're Cenk Uygur or Kyle Kalinske or any other moron. Case in point, there's an old clip going around where people are trying to use this as a gotcha, saying that Charlie is advocating for murder.
But we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year.
I don't know how anyone could perceive this as advocation for political violence even if your IQ is lower than room temperature. Even then, here's the rest of the context for that clip.
We convince them that it's important to have the right to defend ourselves and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's a great question. Thank you. So I'm a big Second Amendment fan, but I think most politicians are cowards when it comes to defending why we have a Second Amendment. This is why I would not be a good politician, or maybe I would, I don't know, but because I actually speak my mind. The Second Amendment is not about hunting. I love hunting. The Second Amendment is not even about personal defense. That is important. The Second Amendment is there, God forbid, so that you can defend yourself against a tyrannical government.
Come on.
Governments tend to get tyrannical, and that if people need an ability to protect themselves and their communities and their families. Now, we must also be real. We must be honest with the population. Having an armed citizenry comes with a price. Wow. And that is part of liberty. Wow. Driving comes with a price. 50,000 people die on the road every year. Wow. That's a price. You get rid of driving, you'd have 50,000 less auto fatalities. But we have decided that the benefit of driving, speed, accessibility, mobility, having products, services, is worth the cost of 50,000 people dying on the road. Wow. So we need to be very clear that you're not going to get gun deaths to zero. It will not happen. Right. You can significantly reduce them through having more fathers in the home, yes, by having more armed guards in front of schools. We should have an honest and clear reductionist view of gun violence, but we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights.
Charlie made it very clear. There is a cost to everything. In the same way you don't ban automobiles of any kind just because there happen to be a few people dying every year, you don't shut down hospitals because people die from malpractice or vaccinations or anything of the nature. George W. Bush nearly died from a pretzel. What are we supposed to do? Technically nuke rolled gold? No, of course not. It's ridiculous. Accidents happen. People lose control. But this is because it's not about the gun that's the issue, or a knife, or a Doritos chip, or anything of the nature. It comes down to the people, the culture, the society, who we are. If everyone was good, not brainwashed, not hopped up on SSRIs, or going through HRT, or any other of the countless problems that make up the world today, we wouldn't have these problems. And for those reasons, Charlie took a stand. He led from the front and by example. And the very issues and many more that I just detailed are why he's dead. And this brings me to what is the most bittersweet part about Charlie's death. I'm not the first one to have noticed it. This is very much a turning point in the history of not only the United States, but of the world. An impact this woman tried to claim otherwise.
The best part of this whole goddamn thing is that he is not martyr material, so his death will mean nothing. It will activate no one. It will impact few. It's just great.
If this is what this woman truly believes, then she is proof positive that the left is a demonic, bloodthirsty cult that has no idea what the world actually is like. Charlie's death was felt around the world, reverberating through Japan, Korea, Australia, and many more countries. People, for the first time in years, if not their entire lives, are finally going to church. Individuals en masse are leaving the Democratic Party, and the corporate communist media defending and twisting the truth of the actual facts only proves just how blatant everything is and has been for many years. More people are activating, more people are becoming aware of everything going on, and they do not like it. We are going to push back, left, right, and center. We are no longer going to deal with the evil that has been perpetrated against all of us. This is why I have hope. The youth are standing up. Many adults and elders are starting to see just how bad things definitely can get under communist rule and influence. So this is it. This is the turning point. I just wish it didn't come at his expense. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, then please like, share, and subscribe for more political commentary. Head to my main channel, Albeleo, if you want to hear me discuss movies and shows and other such entertainment. And lastly, if you want something more casual, head over to the Balmorian Galaxy, where I discuss Battletech and MechWarrior. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.